depicting a dystopian future of total surveillance, propaganda, and thought control. So it was this internal battle of shadow and light. It's about the terrifying possibility of a system so powerful it can force people to believe lies as truth. Welcome to Vibrational Revelations. My name is Elena.
My name is Alejandro.
Thank you so much for being part of the Vibrational Revelations YouTube community. For those of you that are brand new, welcome. We wanted to share that if you're not familiar with the scale that we use, it's called Vibrational Frequencies of Awakening Scale. We'll be putting the scale down in the description so you'll be able to download and understand the meaning behind all the numbers that we reveal. For those of you that have followed our work, we encourage you to join Vibrational Revelations membership platform. This is where we go live once a month, discussing all kinds of topics that unfortunately cannot be posted publicly. But as a member, you get access to the full library of over 200 episodes from the last 5+ years of our work, plus many other special offers like 25% off on all the digital products. If you're interested in getting your own vibrational frequency PDF, you'll be able to dive deep through the report that you receive as well. So today's episode is all about George Orwell, who is a famous writer, passed away in 1950. And of course, his most famous book, which is called The 1984. I know that it's been circulating around. Many people have actually asked us to reveal the vibrational frequency of the book. And the reason that it's gaining more and more popularity today is because of the terms like totalitarianism and Big Brother, which we have done the revelation on Palantir and where it's headed. So if you have not seen the episode, we will absolutely put the link below so you'll be able to watch that episode as well. All right. Let's dive into who George Orwell was. So that was his pen name. His actual name was Eric Arthur Blair. He was one of the most influential writers, essayists, and critics of the 20th century, known for his sharp political insight, clarity of style, and unflinching social commentary. So he was born in India while his father worked at the British colonial civil service. At the age of 1, his family moved back to England. He attended prestigious schools, but then decided not to go to the university. Some of the major works, one of the books is called The Animal Farm, which he published in 1945. I'm just curious how many people have read it. And it's a satirical allegory of the Russian Revolution and the rise of Stalinism, where farm animals overthrew their human owners only to see their rebellion corrupted by pigs who became as oppressive as humans. So I'm curious to see in the poll below how many of you have read it. And then, of course, the book we're revealing today is 1984, which was written in 1949. Actually, George Orwell was really sick at that time for quite a few years with tuberculosis as he was writing this book. And it is his most famous novel. And as I said, it's gaining more and more traction and popularity, depicting a dystopian future of total surveillance, propaganda, and thought control. The concepts of Big Brother, doublethink, and thought crime have entered the global lexicon. Later years and death, as I said, that he was marked by poverty, terrible health, personal struggles, and he died at the age of 46. His legacy, he was warning humanity against authoritarianism, the manipulation of truth, and the loss of individual freedom continue to resonate with everyone today. And then, of course, his most famous terms are Orwellian, Big Brother, thought crime, and doublethink remain shorthand for oppressive political systems. He is remembered as a writer who married moral urgency with literary brilliance, leaving behind works that challenge readers to remain vigilant against tyranny. So we'll do the revelation on him.
Interesting. Well, we go into his vibrational profile. We're going to reveal the results of the vibrational frequency analysis that we've done. Eric Arthur Blair, aka George Orwell. He incarnated at the frequency of 200, which is heroism. Was born at the frequency of 55, that is detachment. And his overall frequency is 75, which represents sorrow. When it comes to health, he viewed health through the lens of 75, sorrow as well. Connection to mind, 400, that is discernment. Connection to body, 75. Connection to soul, 200. When it comes to finances, he viewed finances through the lens of sorrow, 75 as well. Creativity, 500. So he was in the flow when it came to the aspect of creativity.
When he was inspired, he would go into flow state to write these incredible
exactly.
Yes, books.
Relationships, 100. That is worry. Relationship to self, to himself, 100. In relationship to others or with others is 100 as well. Personal growth, 200. He was heroic about the aspect of personal growth, wanting to explore everything that is related to personal growth. Philanthropy, 100. Service to self and service to others, 100. Intuition, 400. So it's activating the filter of discernment when it comes to the aspect of intuition, receiving intuitive insights. That's how he processed the information when it came through. Clairaudience, with an intuition, clairaudience, 200. Clairsentience, 100. Clairvoyance, 500.
The visionary, he was also a big visionary.
Yeah, this really confirms what you just shared about his profile.
And also the things you taught, the numbers that reveal his overall frequency, and especially related to health, his body,
connection
and
to body,
finances.
and health, 75, both, yes, and finances too. Clairvoyance, 500, as I said. Claircognizance, 400. That is the inner knowing. Now we go into the intelligence aspect. IQ, 310. That's eagerness. EQ, emotional quotient, 100. Social quotient, SQ, 100. And adversity quotient, AQ, 100. So whenever faced with challenges or adversity, he will activate the filter of worry at 100.
Okay, now we're going to go into percentages because a person can experience different types of frequencies. Now we're going to look at percentages from 0 to 100%. In the joy, how much did George Orwell enjoy his role? Or we could say Eric Arthur Blair, 48%. So not so much. And as I've read the introduction to you, he struggled a lot in his life. In the ego, 98%. And out of that, 97% was inferior ego. So he struggled with thoughts that he entertained, perhaps that he wasn't good enough. In the now is 47 or was 47% for him. So it also shows that he was contemplating the past experiences, perhaps worrying about the future. Self-awareness, 92%. So he was very self-aware, I would say. His clarity was at 92%. And it's interesting because when you couple that together with creativity at 500, clairvoyance, the visionary ability at 500, you could see this is how the messages came through so clearly, or his visions perhaps of where humanity is headed.
This multifaceted approach is just really fascinating because it gives you a broader perspective and paints a bigger and clearer picture of the personal stance in relation to different aspects of life, of how one processes the different aspects of information related to different aspects, that you can really gain a deeper understanding of where they stand, vibrationally speaking.
Yes, and in his case, he definitely embodied the shadow and the light. So it was this internal battle of shadow and light, and perhaps this also shows up in his work. Integrity, 96%. Integrity to himself is 97%. Integrity to others, 96%. Let's see, what do we have? Alignment with divine purpose. It's also very interesting because his overall frequency is 75. He incarnated at the frequency of 200. So usually when a person does not live out at least their incarnation frequency or higher, and they're so far away from the incarnation frequency, the divine purpose tends to be low percentage. His case is very unusual because his alignment with divine purpose is 97%. So actually, he was here to play out this role and perhaps to bring his body of work to humanity to begin to question for those that are still asleep and not realizing what is happening.
And especially when his indie joy is at 48%, I believe.
Also,
right?
Yes, quite
it's
low.
Very low. And we have seen that to be a clear pattern for most people, that when their indie joy percentage is below 80%, it impacts their alignment with divine purpose.
In his case, it did not.
I mean, it did, but not drastically, like in most cases.
Right, it's still 97%
Yes.
alignment, so he was pretty aligned. Alignment with personal purpose. Now that is where you see the struggles that he experienced in his life, and that is 65%. So he absolutely, from a persona perspective, did not enjoy his life much, and he was out of alignment there. Perhaps he felt unfulfilled. Compassion, 100%. Compassion to others, 100%. And his empathy was also at 100%. So he felt things. His energy purity, again, it's not how pure someone is, but how much do they embody that their overall frequency. In his case, it's 75, the frequency of sorrow, and he embodied that at 100%.
I mean, he was heroic, joined the army, Indian army, correct? And incarnated at the frequency of 200, as we've seen in the past revelations when we did the veterans last weekend, I believe, for our membership platform. That's one of the patterns that we identified.
For the incarnation frequency.
For the incarnation frequency at 200 when it came to the veterans, exactly. So in his case, he incarnated at 200. Also, I joined the army, but without a doubt, was carry on and was unable to diffuse, transcend his trauma, whatever
Struggles,
it is,
health, finances,
that he experienced during his first 10, 15 years in his life, that wasn't able to transcend that, because his health is 75, his connection to body is 75.
Well, he died from tuberculosis, which was at
Yes,
that time many people
still
got sick from
lingering.
tuberculosis.
Mhm.
Yes. So let's dive into the synopsis of his the most famous book that he wrote in 1984, which was set. It was actually a dystopian novel set in the totalitarian state called Oceania, ruled by the omnipresent figure, Big Brother, and the party. The government exercised absolute control over every aspect of life, speech, thought, history, and even reality itself through propaganda, surveillance, and manipulation of truth. I know that many people who come from the background I came from, I used to live and grow up in the former Soviet Union. So this is very much the stories of growing up and hearing our parents and grandparents who grew up during the Stalin regime. And I'm sure China is one of those countries or in the world at the moment that is also putting out these totalitarian control, big brother kind of umbrellas and control over population, although you do see it in Russia as well.
I mean,
In many
it is
ways.
part of the human behavior, and since we're all interconnected and we have connected to the same source, to all the information lies that we all tap into based on what we're seeking to experience. Everyone carries. We're all carriers of the this database, I would say, all the information that has ever been experienced. Now it is about what is it that we're activating and we're wanting to integrate it into our journey, our experience and experience in this lifetime. So even though it's been experienced in other countries fully, one way or another, rather through family members, friends, government officials, political leaders within all countries, you will find people that are replicating
The system.
the system.
Yes.
Yes.
So going back to the book, the story follows Winston Smith, a low-ranking party member who works at the Ministry of Truth. How do you like that? Where his job is to rewrite historical records to fit the party's shifting narrative. This is actually happening right now. Putin is rewriting all the history books, by the way, in high school. So this we know.
Especially the history of Ukraine.
Ukraine, Russia, the whole story. Yes. Poland as well. Privately, Winston despises the regime and longs for freedom, truth, and individuality. He begins a forbidden love affair with Julia, who shares his rebellious spirit, and they dream of resistance. Their defiance, though, is very short-lived. They are eventually captured by thought police. Very interesting, right? Because now we see thought police on all the social media platforms. It's been happening since 2020. Tortured and brainwashed at the Ministry of Love under the command of O'Brien, a high-ranking party official. Winston is forced to betray Julia, and his spirit is systematically broken until he genuinely believes that the party's doctrine and the most famous thing that they talk about is 2 + 2 is not 4, 2 + 2 is 5. And of course, the novel ends with Winston's complete submission, where he no longer loves Julia, but instead loves Big Brother. And let's go just briefly into this 2 + 2 = 5. I just want to touch upon it. And this is where the climax of 1984 happens, where Winston is tortured by O'Brien until his resistance collapses. At first, Winston insists that reality exists independently of the party's claims. He argues that 2 + 2 must always = 4, no matter what the party says. For Winston, holding on to this truth is a way of preserving his sanity and independence. But O'Brien shows him that the party's power does not stop at controlling action or words. It extends to controlling perception itself. Everyone talks about the matrix now, right? So this is very kind of eerie. Through relentless psychological and physical torture, Winston is forced to abandon his conviction. Eventually, he does not merely say 2 + 2 = 5 to avoid pain. He starts to believe it. This moment symbolizes the ultimate victory of totalitarianism, the destruction of objectivity, of objective reality, and the replacement of truth with whatever regime declares. If the party says 2 + 2 = 5, then it is true, because reality only exists through the lens of the party. By accepting this, Winston loses his name, shred of inner freedom. He no longer has the ability to separate his own perception from the party's dictates. This demonstrates Orwell's warning. Under extreme tyranny, it's not enough for people to obey. They must be remade so that their very thought aligns with power, even when it contradicts their reality. In other words, 2 + 2 = 5 is not about mathematics. It's about the terrifying possibility of a system so powerful it can force people to believe lies as truth, obliterating the line between reality and illusion. And we thought right now more than ever, this is very, very relevant, especially where humanity is and where we're headed in the world.
So is it, somehow objective truth has been cancelled and replaced by subjective truth, right? That is cutting and changing.
History, truth police. I mean, people, you're being censored everywhere on either side.
Right.
Exactly. Fact checked, and whose facts are true. So,
yeah, and often what we are experiencing or witnessing is that when it comes to 2 + 2 = 5, is that it doesn't matter what the facts are telling you. It is about what they think it should be, what it should sound like or look like, and if the party is approving it as a part of their narrative, then even though they know that 2 + 2 = 4, they tend to support the theory that 2 + 2 = 5.
and it also, we have to think back also the time period when George Orwell wrote the book. Right after the war, he lived through World War II, the rise of fascism, when they started 1939, burning books, banning comedians, banning shows. These are all of the things unfolding regardless of what side you're on. Just remember, everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. And
well, he was in the military during Franco's
yes,
times, and he was shoulder to shoulder with Franco, actually. In a way, is a little.
No, he was against it.
He was against Franco?
Against, of course.
Yeah,
he was against fascism, and he was against communism.
As of, I didn't mean shoulder to shoulder like rubbing against, but on the same, during the same times.
Times, yes. Also fascism, and he writes about that.
Yes. By the way, I have a great uncle. They also wrote a few books, and one of them was about Franco, and another one about Fidel Castro. He was actually kicked out. He had to flee with his wife at the time, hidden under fishing boat, covered with fish. And Fidel Castro ordered to burn all of his books. And then he goes to Peru, where I'm from, and at the time they also banned his books because he wrote a book about the political party at the time, APRA, as the title was APRA was a social cancer. And anyways, it just came to mind.
Anytime you try to censor books, shows, comedians, I mean, this is like the beginning of the fall of a great civilization.
Yeah, it is a major contradiction if they're trying to portray themselves, whoever it is banning these books or canceling people, to say that they are for freedom of speech. It is a double-edged sword, but we have to be clear, which is it? Is it truly freedom of speech, or is it just only when
It
you're in
agrees with the
agreement,
party.
right, in agreement with the party that is in control at the moment, in any country at any given time. Now we go into the vibrational profile, vibrational frequency analysis of the book, the 1984, written by George Orwell. Overall frequency, 100. Impact on human perception, 100. And I think it's somewhat obvious that the perception of the readers will be impacted.
Yeah, to be fearful, to worry,
Being controlled.
expanding on the dangers
Exactly.
of what Big Brother can do.
Or Big Brother's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Alignment with divine purpose, 100%. So it was aligned with the soul's way of
Bringing this
sharing a
information.
piece of what was about to unfold, in a way to bring awareness to people, so people can be prepared about what is coming and what is unfolding. And it's becoming, one way or another, no matter what side of the aisle you stand on, it impacts all and every human being on earth. That it is moving toward one government and Big Brother being in charge and everyone being monitored and controlled, and we're moving towards it. There's enough evidence now, especially with the rolling out of
The Palantir.
Blockchain and cryptocurrency and digital currency, and now the involvement of Palantir and so forth. It's already happening, and it's moving toward that. And the chaos that humans collectively, we are one way or another creating, is expediting that process, right? Because many people would like to have control not only about what their children do or what the schools they go to or what professions they up to or what careers they should be involved in, but they would like to control everything. The more control, the more power they have. So, and the more chaos we cause on the other side, we are actually feeding their agenda without knowing, thinking that when we hear that a government is banning the opposite, whatever extreme opposite it is of what we stand for, that it is relieving, that it is protecting us. But it's a double-edged sword, and it is already unfolding.
It made me think of a movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a German film that won, I think it won Best Foreign Film many years ago. It's called The Lives of Others. Have you ever seen it?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, I absolutely
it's a great movie, actually.
encourage you to see it.
What was the name of the main actor?
I don't remember.
Okay. The face comes to mind, but I can't remember the name. So alignment with divine purpose, 100%. Alignment with its mission, 71%. And this we can translate as that it wasn't able to really bring enough awareness, or it wasn't able to captivate the attention of the people at the time to pay attention to what is happening.
Even at this time, it's not captivating enough people or capturing enough people to wake up.
Because of where we stand collectively when it comes to the level of consciousness that we're operating from. and the filters that we're activating to process the information that is being brought to our field of perception, it is blurring our
ability to
lens and our
discern.
ability to discern
Mhm.
to where we're just so stuck in one way and not open to hear other sides, not open to see the bigger picture. So what is really truly better for humanity as a whole, not because of the team that I belong to or the political party that I follow.
Mhm.
So hopefully we will little by little, and usually it's chaos the activates pain, and pain is what forces us to wake up and be compassionate about not only ourselves but our neighbors and everyone else. And that's when we can actually be able to access the solutions and make the necessary adjustments to enhance the well-being of humanity as a whole. Now we go into alignment with human collective of year 2025, or this year.
The book, the message of the book.
Exactly, of the book. And it's 78%. Then we also looked into year 2027, and it's at 89%. It's increasing. 2030, the major talked about often the 2030 agenda of the World Economic Forum. The alignment with human collective of 2030, when it comes to the content of the book, is at 94%. But in 2035, is fully aligned at 100%. So make notes of this information. In 2035, if it's not clear that it's fully aligned, or if it is either or, just send us an email. And we
Hopefully
will
we'll still be here.
we will also hear from you.
That's
Hopefully-
10 years from now.
Hopefully it's not intercepted when you send it. Now, I mean, we don't think it's a funny topic.
No.
We have two options. We rather smile sarcastically, or we cry, and we don't want to cry right now. We're not there. Now we have to embody and embrace the present and do our best to make the necessary adjustments to experience a more expanded future. Now, alignment with Russia, human collective in 2025 is
So again, the book's content with, yes.
with the mindset, we can say, and then the overall vibrational frequency and the filters that the Russian people collectively are activating to process the information, to process life, is at 91%. And it makes sense, right? Because they are further, they're closer to experience what the content of the book is predicting or sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, alignment with United States human collective in 2025 is 78%, which is exactly the same as the human collective for 2025, 78%.
Mm-hmm.
Alignment with European Union human collective in 2025 is also 78%. And alignment with China human collective in 2025 is 93%. Also makes sense. China is a few steps ahead of Russian way of
controlling people,
people.
or where we are also as the rest of the world, United States and Europe. So let's hold the light. Thank you again for being a part of this channel. We hope that you like, share. Sorry, by the way, for the alarm that went off. That was
No, it was intentionally placed, programmed, and planned just to wake people out in case you guys were falling asleep,
there you go. Okay.
to get your attention.
Yes. So thank you again. And we hope that you join Vibrational Revelations membership platform where we can have open conversations about many topics that unfortunately we're not able to have due to the censorship on many different platforms online. So thank you.
Thank you.